in athletics, like when you're an athlete, you start to watch film, and before you learn how to watch film, you try to watch like everybody. You want to see everybody who did wrong. You trying to watch who messed up, who made a good play. You looking for all the highlights and stuff like that. And when I was taught how to watch film, it was to watch myself. So I had to see what I did wrong or what I could have done better or how did I miss this play? So I took that concept too and I started adding it to the practice and the operations, right? So long story short, in order for us to even make this work, I'm gonna start with myself. So who am I? Where did I come from? Why did we choose this practice? Um, because before I investigate a coach, an institution, and other athletes, it's important that I start with myself, right? Because you're practicing. I'm practicing on myself, being vulnerable and pulling back all the layers of, you know, why did I make certain decisions, why things became what they became, how could I have gotten better? I'm watching the film. I'm watching myself. I'm looking at, okay, in 2020, you did this and because you did this, it led to this, right? And it sucks because I mean, who wants to look at their failures, right? And I think in sports, as an athlete, you want to get better for the next game, and I have to take that same concept and put it into the business. So I'm developing myself meant watching my old mistakes, watching my old mishaps. But then that just wasn't enough. I had to first look at what was the overall objective. And sometimes you'll find out that you never even had an objective. You just woke up and started just doing whatever felt good. And as an athlete, if you're doing that, you're not going to perform at the highest level. You're not going to actually benefit the team. You won't even fulfill the objectives of the game plan. So once I decided to say this is what we're gonna do, I chose myself first because in order to build the credibility, you have to be vulnerable, right? Nobody's going to take you serious or nobody's going to listen to you. No one's going to work with you or sign with you just because you dress cool or you look cool or you can talk the lingo. You know, I used to always tell, the athletes when I coached them, I'll never ask you to do something that I wouldn't do. And I meant that because in athletics, I didn't do anything that I wouldn't ask somebody else to do. But when it came to the business side, um, you, you took lumps because you were doing things that one you didn't practice, you didn't have no objectives over, and you didn't even understand what your role was in the whole scheme of things. So a self investigation is no different than watching film. A self investigation is no different than looking at your highlights and say, okay, yeah, that was a highlight, but you did the wrong thing and made a good play, right? And I said that a couple interviews ago where you can you can make a great play and do the wrong thing at the same time. I think sometimes in the business world, in the enterprise side, and even in this new NIL and rev share space, yes, you may have signed a big deal. You may have gotten a brand deal. You may have, secured this athlete or you signed to this school or somebody gave you a big contract, but you didn't do anything right. So much so that you can't go do it again. And I wanted to build consistent, repeatable processes because that's what gave me the success when I was an athlete. I learned the skills, learned the technique, learned the foundations, watched the film, got into practice, did it in the game, watched the game film, re restructure myself to fix what I messed up in the previous week for the next week. And then when the season ended, you look back and you say, all those micro decisions in every game, did I perform better in the easy ones or the hard ones? And if you perform better in the harder ones, you had a system, because the easy one's supposed to be easy, but it's the ones that challenge you. It's the situations that are super high stakes, that the decisions you make have to be grounded in some type of a foundation. So I decided to say, if we're gonna launch this practice, I mean, before I even ask an institution or a coach or an athlete to work with me, I had to go investigate myself. Why am I doing this? What was the trigger? You know, what makes sense? How can we scale this? What value am I adding? And that just made me ask myself, can I really investigate others if I've never investigated myself? And I think that's me being more from a vulnerable standpoint, more from a humility aspect, where I'm not, being a hypocrite, right? Arrogantly, you never want to put your dirty laundry out there, but in order for you to excel and reach to the next level, you have to first just strip yourself down to the first principles of what do you stand for, who are you, and what you trying to do. And that's how you build your roadmap out. So I'll ask you, can you really investigate other people if you haven't investigated yourself?